Hey guys, it's Sonia. Welcome back to my channel. And today we are talking about breaking patterns. And we are talking about breaking the pattern of re entering unhealthy relationships. This is a suggestion by our fellow YouTube fam. It's J Dubs. Please check out his channel. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment. He is the #1 commenter on YouTube. So make sure you go and comment on his channel on all the great works he does. He does show reviews and he offers a perspective from a male standpoint. And what I love is that it's always balanced. So please go check out J Dub's channel. I will link it in the description box below. Before we get into it, I want to say thank you to my new subscribers and to anyone who is supporting my channel. I appreciate you so much. All right, so let's get into tonight's topic. In order to talk about unhealthy relationships and how to break the pattern of entering unhealthy relationships, we have to discuss what an unhealthy relationship is. An unhealthy relationship is a relationship that includes abuse. It isn't a safe environment for you. And when we talk about abuse, we talk about abuse mental, emotional, financial, physical, any type of abuse or any type of environment that is unsafe for you, where you feel unsafe, you can't communicate, you can't be yourself, it's unstable. That's a sign, it's a sure sign of an unhealthy relationship. A relationship that stops your growth and development. You are stuck in a place. You can't grow. You can't flourish. You two don't inspire one another. That is a sign of an unhealthy relationship. Also, if there's a lot of chaos and confusion in the relationship, which kind of goes along with abuse, but just it's just chaotic and it's confusing. Nothing is clear. There's always these mystery questions in the air. That's another way you know that you are in an unhealthy relationship. Lastly, the relationship leaves you drained and tired. Like the Tamara Man song says, truth is, I'm tired. This is how this relationship leaves you. It leaves you exhausted. It leaves you so tired, and you have nothing else to give to yourself or to the world because you are so tired. Those are the signs of an unhealthy relationship. So let's talk about why. When you know your why, you can get to the solution of the problems. Why are you entering into unhealthy relationships? Number one, it's the comfort. It's a place of comfort for you. It's familiar. Sometimes we grow up in environments where we are conditioned to believe that this is what a relationship is supposed to look like. A number one example of that is Christian Rock and Blueface. You can tell both of them came from a chaotic background, but you really can see it with Chris because her family was recently on TV, and you saw how the father spoke to her and how the family spoke to one another, and just all of like the aggression and hurt and pain and chaos. And that is how their relationship is. And people wonder why she won't leave him. That is a familiar place for her, for one. And for two, he's shown her some love, and whether it's healthy or not, it's something that she wants. I want to do a video on them. I may do a video on them. But the bottom line is, for her, it's familiar and it's what love looks like, right? Whether we agree with it or not, for her, it's what love looks like because that's what she's experienced. That's family for her. So that's number one. And number two, he has afforded her the ability to be able to provide for her family and to provide for herself and giving her a stable environment, meaning a home, because I think she was homeless for a little while. With that being said, to her, she needs to be loyal to him and she needs to be loyal to this situation. And then they are unhealthy together. And so there's a lot of chaos and confusion and abuse, right? That is a prime example of a unhealthy relationship. But these are two people who really, I feel, need some help. But that's another conversation for another time. Anyway, that's number one. This place is familiar, and that is why you may be in an unhealthy relationship or why you seek out unhealthy relationships. The second one is we think we deserve it. We have low self esteem. We don't believe that we deserve better. We don't believe that we should be treated well. Unfortunately, sometimes while growing up or during a period of our life, people tell us that we are worthless, right? That you don't deserve better, that you're supposed to be treated this way, that this is what you're supposed to accept. And because that is what people have told you, you start to believe it and you don't believe that you deserve better. Sometimes we are living in shame and we feel as though we don't deserve better because we are ashamed of mistakes that we may have made in the past. The third reason why we may enter into unhealthy relationships is because we are the problem and we are not self aware enough to know that we are the problem. Our patterns of behavior, how sometimes you push people to the limit. Now, everyone is their own person, has agency over themselves, and it's up to you to manage yourself. However, there are times where people bring out certain things in you, right? Or people adapt to your behavior. So sometimes people are adapting to your behavior. We always have to look at our own selves and we have to look at our own patterns. But a lot of times it's the person that is unaware of how they impact others, right? This last one is one that hits home for me. We are trying to rewrite history, right? We may have experienced a situation in the past, especially like in our childhood, and we are trying to correct what has happened to us in the past. A lot of times you'll see this type of behavior with individuals who were introduced to maybe sex in a very unhealthy way. And later in life, the person explore sex, it becomes about conquering. They become it becomes about taking their power back from the man or the woman that may have abused them in their childhood. That is very common. I'm gonna later maybe look for some articles so we can really talk about this if this is something you want to talk about. But that is one of the reasons why you may re-enter into unhealthy relationships. You're trying to rewrite history. You cannot rewrite history. I'm here to tell you. I went through this, guys. I am known as a survivor. And so I said, I'm going to survive. I've been through so much in life. I can handle this person. I can handle this kind of personality. And all it did was drain me and make me tired. It brought me here today because now I talk about healing and self love and healthy relationships. But I'm here to tell you that came from me having an all out battle with my past via a relationship. So be very mindful of that. So, how do we fix it? How do we break this pattern? How do we stop going down the same road? Number one, you need to acknowledge that there is a pattern and that you are the common denominator. And when I say this, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means something about your past, something about your conditioning. There is something somewhere that needs to be healed so that you can move on. It could be a childhood wound, it could be an adult wound, it could be a lack of self-esteem. It's different things. You have to search that out for yourself, but you have to acknowledge that there is a pattern and that the relationship is unhealthy and that you've had unhealthy relationships. And then you get to your why. You have to ask yourself why. And this is when it's a great time to sit down and write out the patterns of the relationship. What do these relationships have in common? What type of behavior? What type of person? How am I showing up in a relationship? We got to be self aware. We have to reflect on our own behaviors. Now that you've acknowledged that there's a pattern there, the next thing you need to do is ask yourself why. Why is there a pattern? And what is the pattern? Those two questions are very, very important. Why was there a pattern and what is the pattern? You have to really sit down and write. I know a lot of people don't like writing, but I'm telling you, writing things out are very important because you can see what it is that you are trying to process. It helps you process things essentially. But you write out, why did I date this person? Why did I date that person? What is the common pattern in our relationship? Do we break up to make up a lie? Do I always get in relationships with cheaters? Do I always get in relationships with emotionally unavailable people? What is the common pattern here? And then you have to ask yourself again, why? Why do you feel like this is a pattern? Why do you choose these kind of people, right? Sometimes we are seeking emotionally unavailable people. We know that person isn't really interested in settling down, but we're going to try to convince them to settle down. We're trying to make them choose us. A lot of times we're doing that because, like I said, we're trying to rewrite history, and you can't rewrite history, right? So you get into this relationship. Sometimes we don't really want to be committed, but we're getting into this relationship because we don't want to have to deal with society telling us that something is wrong with us for not being chosen. Okay. So you deal with that. And again, that has to deal with becoming more self aware and building your self esteem so that you know you're more valuable than your attachment to another person. Okay. Who you are is good enough. Who you are by yourself is good enough. Your partner is a bonus, and your partner can be beautiful. I believe in partnerships and relationships, but they are not who you are. They are who you are with. So that's very important. Next, we have to get some help. If you yourself can't come to the conclusion as to why you are repeating the patterns, or you don't really know what the pattern is, that's okay. It's not easy sometimes to dig in the past. Let me tell you something. Your brain and your body's primary job is to keep you safe and to keep you healthy. Okay. Your brain will protect you from things that have hurt you in the past. So you won't be able to recall them. You may not know the reason why you're doing some of the things that you're doing. So it's better for you to get someone to help you through that process. And you can get a coach, you can get a therapist, you can get somebody to just help you. There are also books, there's a lot of information on YouTube. You'll have to do your research to find out what works best for you, but you'll have to seek out resources to help you understand who you are. Maybe just Googling or looking on YouTube for videos about, say, you were a military kid, about military children and traveling a lot. Like, what can that do to the psyche? What can that do to me as a person? I really, really do recommend, though, that if you can't recall anything, that you see a therapist. That I will say, see a therapist for that. I wouldn't even recommend that you see a coach because you don't know what traumatic events your brain is protecting yourself from, and you need someone who has the correct tools to help you through that. Okay. Next, give yourself permission to heal. Sometimes we won't give ourselves permission to heal. We are holding back, fighting that healing. Like, I am not going to heal. I'm going to fight it. Just because sometimes we don't want to feel the pain. We don't know what this healing thing feels like, or we don't know what it looks like. It's scary. And sometimes we just don't want to feel, right? I don't want to cry. I don't want to be upset. I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be depressed. I would challenge you to think of it like this. You need to move forward in life, and you have a big block that's blocking you from getting the love you deserve, having healthy friendships. Because when we talk about relationships, me personally, as a coach, when I talk about I help you with relationships, I'm talking about all relationships, including with yourself. So it's very important that you are able to build healthy relationships, including that relationship with yourself. Okay. Next, you have to learn to set some boundaries, and you need boundaries for other people as well as yourself. Boundaries keep you safe. That's the bottom line. Boundaries are about safety. And if you can't keep you safe and you can't set your boundaries and you allow people to run over you and overstep and put you in a compromising position, because you're trying to please them, because you're trying to be someone you're not, you are betraying yourself. You're betraying yourself when you do that. So don't betray yourself. You need to set boundaries for yourself and for others. And when I say set boundaries for yourself, sometimes we tell people what's expected and we set a boundary, but because again we're trying to please them, we will overstep that boundary ourselves. For example, if you say I don't want to have sex before marriage, but you feel like this person may leave you, then you will go and have sex anyway just because you're trying to hold on to that person, and that shouldn't be. Okay. So you have to protect your own boundaries and stand firm on your own boundaries for yourself and for others. Require that people stay in line as far as what keeps you safe and your boundaries, okay? Next up, you have to become a student of yourself. You have to get to know yourself, really get to know yourself, get to understand who you are and why you are the way that you are. Be willing to take that journey of self discovery. So, be a student of yourself. Also, get to learn your love languages. Learn how you communicate or how you best communicate. Learn how you best learn. One of the coaching questions I ask when we do the assessment is how do you best learn? Because people learn differently, right? And you may just need to understand things from a different perspective in order for it to really sink in. Some people you can tell them something and they got it. Some people have to live through it. As my mom will say, sometimes you got to bump your head a little bit. Sometimes people need to live through it. Sometimes you can read. Sometimes you need audio. Sometimes you need someone to tell you things straight front, straight, no chaser. Sometimes you need a little sugar on top of this conversation. Get to know that about yourself, right? Like I know me, I don't do well with yelling. I don't like loud yelling, screaming, hitting. I can't stay in that environment, right? So if someone communicates that way, I distance myself just because I can't deal with all of that. But I know that about me. And so in a relationship, I can let them know if you want to talk to me, you can talk to me. We could talk about anything. I don't care what it is, but don't yell at me. Don't yell, don't hit, don't throw. Okay. But I understand it about myself. So that's something that I would say, understand that about yourself. How do you communicate? You know, what is love to you? What does love mean to you? How can someone show you love? How do you show love? These are things that you really want to explore as a person. As you're exploring yourself, you're going to do the final thing, and that's find out what kind of relationship you want. Ask yourself, how do I want to show up in a relationship? How do I want my partner to show up in a relationship? What do I want out of this relationship? How do I want my relationship to be? That is something that is so very important. And make sure this is something that is true to you because everyone can tell you how your relationship is supposed to be, but the truth is, one shoe doesn't fit all. Okay. And what works for you and your partner works for you and your partner. If you guys want traditional roles, then you want traditional roles. If you don't, then you don't. What kind of relationship you need, what's important to you, and write that out. Start meditating on it. Start working towards a relationship of that caliber because you deserve it. I want you to know you deserve a healthy, loving relationship, and you can have that. You won't find a perfect person, but there will be someone that is perfect for you, and you guys will be a good fit. And those little quirks about them although they may bother you, they won't be something that makes you walk away. I always tell people look for someone that makes you want to show up for them in that relationship and yourself every single day because relationships can be challenging. And sometimes I may not like you, right? But I love you. I respect you. I'm in this. I'm committed to this. And I'm going to go to my corner until I feel better. Or we're going to work on what needs to be worked on until we can get over this hump. But we've decided that we are here, right? That's what you want your relationship to be, in my opinion. If you have a person who has one foot out the door, there isn't any stability there. There isn't any safety there. And that is not a healthy relationship. So, J Dub, I hope this helps. Please let me know. Leave a comment below. I will be looking forward to having a discussion with you in the comment section. If you want to do a live about this, please let me know. We can do a live. Also, if there are any other suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below, or you can DM me on Instagram. I just changed my Instagram from Let the Lady Speak to Cyan G Coaching, so check that out. And that's it, guys. I hope you are well. Please have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and do not forget to what? Love yourself for who you are. I'll see you next time. Take care.